How does PIPEDA address the collection of personal information by organizations? A. It restricts collection to specified categories. B. It mandates collection only with explicit consent. C. It allows collection only for specified purposes. D. It prohibits collection entirely. Correct answer: C. It allows collection only for specified purposes. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates organizations collect personal information only for specified purposes, ensuring data collection is necessary and relevant, adhering to Canadian privacy laws. How does the OPC ensure consistency in applying Canadian privacy laws? A. It oversees provincial privacy commissioners. B. It provides guidance and oversees compliance. C. It mandates federal laws override provincial laws. D. It issues fines for privacy violations. Correct answer: B. It provides guidance and oversees compliance. Explanation: the OPC provides guidance and oversees compliance with Canadian privacy laws, ensuring organizations adhere to obligations and apply laws consistently. What measures does PIPEDA require for organizational compliance with privacy laws? A. Mandatory annual audits and reports to the OPC. B. Appointing a privacy officer and implementing policies and practices. C. Immediate disclosure of all processing activities. D. Restrictions on data storage periods. Correct answer: B. Appointing a privacy officer and implementing policies and practices. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates appointing a privacy officer and implementing policies and practices to ensure compliance with Canadian privacy laws and protect personal information. How does Canada's Privacy Act handle cross-border data transfers by federal institutions? A. It prohibits all international transfers. B. It mandates compliance with Canadian laws and informs individuals of potential transfers. C. It allows unrestricted transfers to countries with similar laws. D. It requires encryption for all data transfers. Correct answer: B. It mandates compliance with Canadian laws and informs individuals of potential transfers. Explanation: the Privacy Act mandates compliance with Canadian laws and requires informing individuals of potential cross-border transfers, ensuring transparency and protection. How does PIPEDA handle processing of sensitive information categories? A. It mandates encryption for all sensitive information. B. It requires explicit consent or legal obligation for processing. C. It allows unrestricted processing of sensitive information. D. It prohibits processing entirely. Correct answer: B. It requires explicit consent or legal obligation for processing. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates explicit consent or legal obligation for processing sensitive information, including health, ethnic origin, and others, ensuring protection against misuse. How does PIPEDA handle organizations' handling of personal information breaches? A. It mandates fines for all breaches. B. It requires notification to affected individuals and the OPCC. It mandates immediate disclosure of all breaches. D. It prohibits all data breaches. Correct answer: B. It requires notification to affected individuals and the OPC. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates organizations notify affected individuals and the OPC of personal information breaches, ensuring timely response and mitigating harm. How does the Privacy Act apply to data protection for Canadian federal institutions? A. It mandates encryption for all personal information. B. It restricts retention periods. C. It governs the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. D. It applies solely to automated processing. Correct answer: C. It governs the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. Explanation: the Privacy Act governs how federal institutions collect, use, and disclose personal information, ensuring compliance with Canadian privacy laws. What specific safeguards does PIPEDA mandate for processing activities? A. Encryption for all processing. B. Appropriate policies and practices ensuring compliance. C. Regular audits of processing activities. D. Public disclosure of all processing. Correct answer: B. Appropriate policies and practices ensuring compliance. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates appropriate policies and practices to ensure compliance, guiding organizations in processing activities and protecting personal information. How does PIPEDA address the handling of third-party processes? A. It prohibits third-party processing. B. It mandates contracts outlining responsibilities and obligations. C. It requires third parties to register with the OPCD. It restricts third-party processing to specified periods. Correct answer: B. It mandates contracts outlining responsibilities and obligations. Explanation: PIPEDA mandates contracts between organizations and third-party processors, outlining responsibilities and obligations, ensuring compliance and protection of personal information. How does PIPEDA handle processing transparency for individuals? A. It mandates transparency notices and information on policies and practices. B. It mandates public disclosure of all processing activities. C. It requires transparency reports to the OPCD. It prohibits processing without consent. Correct answer. A. It mandates transparency notices and information on policies and practices. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates organizations provide transparency notices and information on policies and practices, ensuring individuals understand how the personal information is processed. How does the Privacy Act handle access to personal information requests from individuals? A. It mandates immediate access to all information. B. It requires institutions to provide access within a reasonable time frame. C. It prohibits access requests. D. It mandates fees for access requests. Correct answer. B. It requires institutions to provide access within a reasonable time frame. Explanation. The Privacy Act mandates institutions provide access to personal information requests within a reasonable time frame, allowing individuals to review and understand how the data is used. How does PIPEDA address organizational handling of personal information storage? A. It mandates storage limitation and restricts retention to what is necessary. B. It requires encryption for all storage facilities. C. It prohibits data storage beyond specified periods. D. It mandates periodic audits of storage facilities. Correct answer. A. It mandates storage limitation and restricts retention to what is necessary. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates storage limitation, restricting retention to what is necessary for processing purposes, ensuring personal information is not held longer than needed. What measures does the Privacy Act require for federal institutions concerning data protection? A. It mandates compliance with Canadian privacy laws and appointing a privacy officer. B. It requires annual audits and reports to the OPCC. It mandates encryption for all personal information. D. It restricts processing to automated means. Correct answer. A. It mandates compliance with Canadian privacy laws and appointing a privacy officer. Explanation. The Privacy Act mandates compliance with Canadian privacy laws and appointing a privacy officer, ensuring accountability and adherence to obligations. How does PIPEDA ensure the accuracy of personal information processed by organizations? A. It mandates immediate corrections for all inaccuracies. B. It requires corrections upon request. C. It prohibits processing inaccurate data. D. It mandates periodic accuracy audits. Correct answer. B. It requires corrections upon request. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates organizations correct inaccuracies upon request, ensuring personal information remains accurate and relevant for its intended purposes. How does PIPEDA define its material scope concerning commercial activities? A. It applies to private sector organizations in the course of commercial activities. B. It applies to all personal information processing. C. It restricts data processing to specified categories. D. It prohibits data processing entirely. Correct answer. A. It applies to private sector organizations in the course of commercial activities. Explanation. PIPEDA applies to private sector organizations that handle personal information in the course of commercial activities, ensuring compliance with Canadian privacy laws. What measures does PIPEDA require for managing vendor risk in processing relationships? A. Pre-contractual due diligence, regular audits, and ongoing compliance checks. B. Individual agreements with supervisory authorities. C. Vendor registration with the OPCD, mandatory encryption for all data transfers. Correct answer. A. Pre-contractual due diligence, regular audits, and ongoing compliance checks. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates managing vendor risk through pre-contractual due diligence, regular audits, and ongoing compliance checks, ensuring data processors maintain compliance throughout their relationships. How does PIPEDA address complaints from individuals concerning data processing? A. It prohibits all complaints. B. It mandates organizations respond promptly and investigate complaints. C. It requires complaints to be directed to the OPC only. D. It mandates public disclosure of complaints. Correct answer. B. It mandates organizations respond promptly and investigate complaints. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates organizations respond promptly and investigate complaints, ensuring timely resolution and compliance with Canadian privacy laws. How does PIPEDA address organizational transparency in processing activities? A. It mandates transparency notices and information on policies and practices. B. It mandates public disclosure of all processing activities. C. It requires annual transparency reports. D. It prohibits processing without consent. Correct answer. A. It mandates transparency notices and information on policies and practices. Explanation. PIPEDA mandates organizations provide transparency notices and information on policies and practices, ensuring individuals understand how the personal information is processed.